Studies of change, by underlying reality, 0 or 1 as key energy. In the context of material or ideal change, Deleuze and Guattari argue that new information and events emerge when new connections are made between different elements in the rhizome. Biological or artificial memory works by creating connections between neurons or bits. When we recall a memory, the brain activates the same neurons and synapses involved in encoding and storing the memory. There are different types of memory, including short-term memory, which holds information for a few seconds to a few minutes, and long-term memory, which can last for days, months, or even years. Memories can also be stored in different parts of the brain, depending on the type of information being stored. Using already present matters, forms, interactions, and goals of our mind existing in the brain network, new information through experience or pure reasoning causes different connections between neurons and synapses. As discussed in previous videos of Series 2, Merano, chemistry is the study of change. Before discussing the change further with current chemistry, I feel obliged to at least mention the culture of the East, to which I belong. Similar to Western philosophy, I Ching or Zhouyi for Confucianism uses the concept of change by two opposing energies, yin and yang, as key forces underpinning ontology and change in the universe. The original idea in the book was ahead of those ancient Greek philosophers or the Eastern Confucius philosophers. However, it is still debatable to many scholars about the origin. Meanwhile, Tao refers to the underlying principle or force that governs the universe and all things within it. It is often translated as the way, which refers to the natural and effortless path of existence that arises from living in harmony with the Tao. In Taoist thought, Tao is often portrayed as changing its essence once it is put into human understanding or language. It exists in everything at the same time. It is both the ultimate source of all reality and the pattern of life that can be observed in the natural world. Living in accordance with the Tao involves embracing simplicity, spontaneity, and humility, and avoiding excessive striving or attachment to material things. Arguably, it is generally accepted that the idea of yin and yang as complementary opposites was a fundamental concept in Chinese thought long before the emergence of Taoism. Zhu Xi was a prominent figure in the development of Neo-Confucianism, which sought to synthesize the various philosophical traditions of Eastern culture, including Taoism, Buddhism, and Confucianism. Furthermore, Korean philosophers formed a dialectical camp to study how matter and form are bound together to give phenomena to the mind, forming the school of separability and the school of inseparability. For example, it could be said that Yi and Qi have uniqueness and cannot be separated, but Togi emphasized their uniqueness more. To him, Yi and Tao are purely expressed as the absence of good and evil, and Qi is expressed as a quality that can be good and evil. According to Qi De Sung, Sa Dan and the seven emotions through the 4-7 debate are both parts of the same principle, and Satan does not exist separately from the seven emotions. Qi De Sung emphasizes the connection between the body and mind in the context of the yin-yang theory. He believes that the body and mind are two aspects of a unified whole and that the concept of Qi can help to harmonize these two aspects. According to Qi De Sung, Qi is a fundamental energy that flows through the body and mind, and it is this energy that allows us to achieve a state of balance and harmony. Meanwhile, So Kyung-duk also claimed that Qi and Yi are different sides of the same. He believed that the power of matter was eternal and that the separation of the matter was merely the separation of form and not of force. Choi Han Ki accepted the reverse immigrant scientific ideas that Joseon intellectuals had not encountered before, and based on this, he developed his own philosophy by combining Eastern philosophy and Western science. The concept of Qi, presented by him, is an extension of the concept of Qi in Neo-Confucianism, but it is an attempt to unify the concepts of Yi and Qi in a new interpretation. There is one Qi, but different names are given to its different aspects. Qi, as a whole, is called Chun, the side that Qi presides over is called Ji, and the movement of Qi is called Tao. He wrote, "When stretched, it becomes yang, when it goes back and forth, it becomes yin, when it goes, it becomes motion, when it comes back, it becomes quiet. Anyway, we find the resemblance between ancient cultures, the East and West, in the evolution of physical and mental being by synthesis, connection, of two opposing beings. Before the years of Choi Han Ki, Leibniz was, arguably, heavily influenced by the yin-yang theory of traditional Eastern philosophy, particularly the concept of Qi, which he interpreted as a type of metaphysical force or substance. The yin-yang theory holds that all things in the universe are composed of two complementary and opposing forces, yin and yang, and that the interaction of these forces gives rise to all phenomena. Leibniz saw parallels between the yin-yang theory and his own metaphysical ideas, particularly his concept of monads, which he believed were the basic building blocks of the universe. Like yin and yang, monads were indivisible and complementary, and their interactions were responsible for consciousness and the diversity and complexity of the world we experience. Leibniz probably saw Qi as a bridge between the material and spiritual realms, much like the concept of pneuma in ancient Greek philosophy. He may have believed that Qi is the cause of the movement and activity of physical objects and is possibly closely connected with the mind or soul. In this way, Leibniz's ideas about Qi were similar to those of the yin-yang theory, which saw Qi as a vital force that animated and unified all things in the universe. He seemed impressed by the practical and scientific aspect of the Eastern philosophy that he learned from Jesuit missionaries. In his monadology, Leibniz argues that the universe is made up of individual monads that are constantly striving for a balance between their own internal states and their relationship to the larger universe. This idea of the monad is similar in some ways to the Qi or Tao in the yin-yang concept of balance and harmony in nature. The elementary conscious unit, atom, that forms material and mental beings in universe is made of opposing energy according to them. Leibniz and the Eastern philosophy that influenced him thought that the world could be built by combining existence, 1, and non-existence, 0. GI for yin-yang consists of 1 and 0, the binary code. A 3-bit yin-yang byte is 111 of yang, and 101 is yin. Using 9 bits, the sum of these 3 bytes, the 4 elements of Greece, and the 5 elements of the East are given different properties, which are attributes. Similar to Aristotle's Eastern model, Qi has physical and mental matter and form. He recognized that these digits could be used to represent not just numbers, but also logic statements, with 0 representing false and 1 representing true. Leibniz seems to have believed that this binary system could be used as the basis for machines capable of performing complex numerical and logical calculations. Scientifically, when a type of energy flows along with matter, in AI microchips or human brain cells, it can be considered as 1, presence of connection flow, or 0, absence of connection flow. Unlike memory chips, brains do not store electrical charge. Instead, each synapse has multiple different connectivity options, so you can make multiple bits of zeros and ones at each synapse. This is to change the state of energy with the flow of electric charge that has always been there, changing the state of 0 to the energy state of 1. It is a different kind of neurotransmitter that generates several bits of information, such as a byte. In addition, each neurotransmitter enables a combination of weak or strong connections for each connection. Like Deleuze's analogy, it enables thinking, the energy flow of the new rhizome, in the brain. It is closely related to AI neural networks. It classifies many coefficients, each representing a different strength, and combines the previously memorized information with it is similar to how deep learning neural networks work by connecting them to perform calculations and thinking. AI neural network is far from the complexity of brain, but we are just trying to understand the philosophy and science behind it better. We will finally start talking about the deeper concept of chemistry in the synthesis of the small to the complexity of matters and minds. I hope you are enjoying the series as well. Bye my neighbors.